As the summer vacation drew near, Dad came back one day with the good news that Professor Wei would be willing to help tutor me in English. However, she would be away in Fuzhou for a couple of months, accompanying her sister, who would be in rehabilitation under the care of some famous doctors. She would see me when she returned. I was happy and nervous at the same time. It gave me the whole summer to prepare, so maybe I wouldn't look too stupid. I drew up a study plan, leaving very little time for music or anything else. A few days later, Fei rode his bike to my home and stopped briefly to tell me he was leaving Yellowstone for good and was transferring to another high school. Or maybe he would become a driver soon. He was extremely mysterious and his eyes kept looking beyond me. I asked him to stay for a while and chat about the old days, but he said it was a long way to travel to his mom's, so off he went without regret. I was deeply hurt. He had been a loyal friend and great to be with. School would not be the same without him. One day, when the remote Qing mountain was wrapped in layers of lingering clouds that looked like a woman's hair flying loose in the wind, the commune sent an announcement over the loudspeaker system to warn the farmers of an impending typhoon. Suddenly, all was chaos. The brigade leader banged on every member's door, urging the villagers to head for the fields and harvest the rice. All of it, even that which was still green, was to be cut rather than be ruined in the flood. My eldest sister was away in Hanjuan, working at her temporary job in the canned food factory, a violation of the commune's no working out of town and harvest time rule. Dad asked me if I could step in and do her work, so the next day, while it was still dark, Mom awakened me at dawn. My brother Chen and my two sisters, Huang and Qi, were already in the dining room table, stuffing themselves with fried rice by the bowlful and washing it down with soup. Mom had been preparing since midnight. My brother, now a veteran farmer at the age of 22, could eat as many as 3 large bowlfuls before going to work. Everyone worked 14-hour days, and Jen couldn't stand being hungry in the fields. After burping a few times, he lit a cigarette and put on his straw hat, ready to go. I had stuffed as much food into my mouth at 4 a.m. as I could. Mom had warned me that I wouldn't eat again until 1 p.m. With my eyes half closed, I smelled the freshly simmered rice as though it were still a sweet dream. "Follow me, little brother." After I, too, had burped with satisfaction, Jen gave me a sickle and out I went, barefoot, into the dark fields. The edge of the sky was whitish, as if someone had barely lifted the lid off of the earth. We walked in silence among the weeds and grasses still wet with dew. I dragged my feet, fighting the fatigue of being woken at such an ungodly hour, a time when I should have been having the sweetest dreams. I stumbled blindly after my brother, the leader of the group, who whistled, hummed, and smoked as casually as if it were just another day. "Here we are. We have about 5 moos, about 1 acre, of rice to cut before the sun sets." He pointed at the endless stretch of rice fields looming in the whitish dark. "The 4 of us will go in rows. I will take the widest, then Qi and Huang will take the rows beside me. You, little brother, go slow and rest when you need to. Try to see if you can do that slice." He indicated the edge of a huge plot and smiled at me. "No problem. Give me more," I said. Jen showed me how to cut the tall rice stalks at their base and stack them behind me. He warned me not to cut my fingers in the dark. I stepped into the muddy, wet field, making a squishing noise. Some frogs and wild rats ran at the sound. Mosquitoes and insects hummed constantly around my nose, eyes, and ears, and I had to keep batting them away. I could feel the little worms and eels slithering away from under my toes. I closed my eyes and tried to think of something pleasant, the violin. I grabbed big handfuls of stalks and cut them fiercely. My sisters stopped to check on me once in a while and were pleased with what I was doing. Soon the sun rose above the horizon, and the endless fields gave off steam as the morning light embraced them. The rest of the land was still asleep. The knee-high rice plants with needle-sharp leaves got in the way of my face and neck as I bent down. The fuzzy blades needed only to brush my skin to leave behind a red kiss. Soon the summer sun turned from gentle to glaring. Sweat beaded my forehead and trickled down into my eyebrows. My skin began to itch as though it were being attacked by thousands of slimy, crawling creatures, angry that I had invaded their world with my sickle. I unbuttoned my drenched shirt and peeled it off, wiping my cut, sweaty face with it before tossing it behind me. I clenched my jaw to keep from yelling out loud at the pain of my burning skin. I didn't want my sisters or brother to think that their little brother wasn't farmer material. As I stretched my sore back, feeling like the old hunched merchant next door who didn't know what the sky looked like anymore, I saw that they were already 30 yards ahead of me, tirelessly bending over the rice that only seemed to end where the sky launched a rainbow. My sisters and brother had grown up farming. I had seen them carry on their shoulders more than 100 pounds of animal manure to be used for fertilizer in the fields. Their skinny legs had trembled beneath the weight, but they dared not slow down for fear of criticism by the commune leaders, who were especially harsh to them. They had all endured their teeth gritted. My brother Chen had once had a rusty nail go through his right foot. It took 2 months to heal. Huang had once become so dehydrated under the baking sun that she had passed out, and they all complained of constant back pain. But they had to push themselves on, for the commune would not allow any leaves of absence. Their food ration would have been withheld until those absences were made up. They had all grown tall, thin, and tanned like coconuts. As I stood there watching them, I felt respect and fear. A future as a farmer stretched out before me like the brutal fields. There would be endless toiling under a cruel sun, all for a meager existence that consisted of rice porridge and pickled vegetables. There would be hunger for at least 3 months a year, during which even the moldy yams became treasures at the dining table. "Have a rest, brother," I heard Chen shout out me. His voice sounded tiny in that enormous field. "You don't have to hurry." "Put your shirt back on or the sun will kill you," Key said, standing up to take a look at me. "I'm fine, you guys," but my mind was saying, "Let me go home." I was sick of it already. I dropped my sickle and drummed my back with my fist, imitating my dad when he had a hard day. I sighed at the narrow stretch of rice still before me, standing proud and nodding lazily at the occasional breeze. Slowly, I bent my cracking back to pick up the sickle again, this time resting my elbows on my knees like a pregnant woman and hacking the plant stem by stem. I wished the sun would go down faster so that we could all go home and rest, but it stayed eternally motionless, a taunting fireball in the cloudless sky. Then I wished the rice would all fall on its back itself. The sun hung high above my head, and my back felt hot. Even the wet mud in the field was lukewarm, and the proud rice stems began to droop beneath the blaze, tired and sleepy. The day was only half done, but I was totally exhausted. My back hurt, my legs trembled, my face was covered with cuts, and my hands were a mass of raw blisters. I was so miserable. I even didn't feel the walls of my stomach rub against each other. There was a burning in my throat that would take a whole fire brigade to snuff out. I felt angry, belittled, and pathetic. I could not beg to get out of my duty. It was just not done in the Chen family. We all worked hard together and played together. Mom and Dad would never approve of my giving up in the middle of a task. I hung on a few more yards, then the blisters burst. The raw flesh looked red and stung like needles. I heard my sister call out my name. "Little brother, come eat." I saw my mom stumbling along the edge of the field, carrying our lunch on a long bamboo pole. Her face was red beneath her straw hat. I was so grateful to see her. "Come wash your hands and eat, young farmer," Mom smiled at me as I dragged my feet toward her. The beautiful smile on her face was the highest praise she could give us. My sisters and brother gathered around Mom, who was pouring water from a bucket and passing out wet towels. "You're not doing too bad at all. With your help, we will finish before dark," my brother beamed, slapping my back. I screamed before I could stop myself. "What's the matter? Did you burn your back?" Huang asked. I was silent. "I told you to leave your shirt on," she said. "It was wet." They looked at me. "Let me see your hands," Jen said. I held them out. The blisters continued to ooze. "Pack up and go home after lunch, okay? I'm sorry. It must hurt like hell." Mom and my sisters were upset. My mother hurriedly cleaned my bloody hands with a wet towel. "I'm sorry, guys, but I can finish my share." "No. Go home and take care of your hands." I was ashamed, feeling like a defector. "It happened to me, too, when I started out." Jen extended his hands. "Look at them. They feel like iron. Go home and try to be a good student. Maybe someday you'll go to college and won't have to do hard work like this anymore. You can still shoot for it. The rest of us are too old for that." He looked at my sisters. On our way home, I trailed behind Mom in silence, holding both my hands gingerly stretched out. "Do you still want to be a farmer?" Mom asked. I shook my head. "Then study hard. You can choose your future. Your sisters and brothers can't. You're lucky. If they had blisters like yours, they would still have to be there till the last stem was harvested. It's their life." Mom's words stayed with me for a long time. The smell of soil and a vague other scent permeated the endless, brutal fields. I wouldn't miss it if I were never to return. The beauty of nature and the muddy fragrance at harvest used to fill me with emotion. Now the fields looked like a graveyard, filled with hungry ghosts that grabbed at my arms and legs. I didn't want to have my youth and future buried here. As I followed Mom home, I felt a strong desire to start lessons with Professor Way to go back to school. There was a future somewhere for me other than hoes and sickles. There should be no hardship at school that I couldn't overcome. I was never more determined than at that moment. I felt fortunate. As Mom and Jen had said, I still had a chance. The pain in my back and hands throbbed, but all I felt was gratitude for my family and a desire to succeed at school.